Jesus is not just revealing truth, he is revealing people. I think that is what the Gospels show, if you read them carefully enough. But we were taught to read the words of Jesus right along every other phrase and teaching and books in the Bible. The same weight, same purpose, same audience, same meaning. Just a collection of confrontations, parables, and hard sayings, mixed with letters, lineage, prophecy, stories, history, and outdated law, all flattened into one category. Neo-eclectic Christianity does not treat the Bible as flat. It treats Scripture as a three-tiered vessel, with the direct words of Jesus first, the witness around him second, and the wider biblical record third. So everything is read through Christ instead of beside him, because his identity changes everything about his words, and everyone else is witness to that signal. And that signal didn't come through lecture halls or religious courts. It came through conversations, real ones, with real people, in the middle of their actual lives. Jesus speaks to the rich young ruler one way, Zacchaeus, different way, Thomas, different way, the Pharisees, completely different. The woman caught in adultery gets one approach, the men standing over her get another. Before the denial, one Jesus. After, someone else entirely. Same Jesus, with the same center and truth, but a different pressure, different doorway, different point of contact. That is not inconsistency, that is precision. Because Jesus is not just responding to words, he is responding to the person, the posture, the attachment, the fear, the pride, the grief, the wound, and the blindness. The thing underneath the thing. That is why one person gets mercy and another gets rebuke. Why one person gets invitation and another gets warning. And why one person gets reassurance and another gets confrontation. He is not contradicting himself, he is diagnosing. The rich young ruler comes with all the right language. Sounds sincere, sounds moral, sounds spiritually serious, and Jesus goes straight past all of it, straight to the thing that owns him. Sell what you have, give to the poor, come follow me. People read that and immediately want to make it a universal rule, a formula, a command dropped on every believer everywhere for all time. I think we need to slow down. Before you do that, notice something. Jesus is not handing him a random burden. He is exposing the man's true master. Now look at Thomas. Thomas doubts, and Jesus does not dismiss him. He does not throw him away. He didn't say you missed your window. He says, come here, look, touch, see. But other people ask for signs and get nothing. Why? Because not all doubt is the same. Not all questions are the same. One person is reaching through confusion. Another is posturing through resistance. Jesus knew the difference. The institution does not. Then look at the woman caught in adultery. He does not join the frenzy, does not feed the mob, does not use her humiliation as a sermon prop. He protects her from the violence of the righteous. Then turn around and watch him deal with religious leaders full of certainty, image, and control. The tone changes, the heat rises, the language sharpens. Because he is not just addressing behavior, he is addressing orientation. That is the pattern. And once you see that pattern, a bigger question surfaces. How do you build a religion around a teacher like that? How do you scale relational precision? How do you institutionalize discernment? How do you turn something that personal into something that can survive history, geography, disagreement, power, and the death of the teacher himself? That is not a small problem. That is a real damn problem. And before we start throwing stones at everything that came after, stop. Because not every distortion in Christianity begins with bad intentions. Some of it begins with that pressure. Jesus is gone. The movement is growing. Communities are forming. Arguments are breaking out. People are trying to preserve what they saw, what they heard, what they believe happened. So conversations become teachings. Teachings become doctrine. Doctrine becomes structure. You can understand why. You can even respect why. Because once the living teacher is no longer in the room, the community has to carry forward what cannot be perfectly replicated. But here is what gets lost in that process. You keep the sentence. You lose the encounter. You keep the teaching. You lose the precision. You keep the words. You lose the living discernment that knew where to place them. And once that happens, everything flattens. Every verse becomes a rule. Every interaction becomes a template. Every statement gets ripped out of its moment and pushed onto people as though Jesus was speaking to everybody the exact same way all the time. He was not. He was speaking truth, yes, but he was not placing truth mechanically. He knew where to press, where to comfort, where to expose, where to call forward, where to wound, where to heal. Same truth, different point of entry. That is why so much of modern Christianity feels off, because structure always carries a temptation. Replace discernment with policy, replace encounter with category, replace living orientation with managed compliance. Once that happens, you can still have the language of Jesus while missing the way of Jesus entirely. The pattern in the Gospels is not just that Jesus said true things, it is that he knew what each person needed from the truth. That is a very different thing. So if Jesus spoke to people according to what they actually needed, what exactly is the institution providing now?